Depression can be caused by many different things, even good things. When people know their triggers, they can be aware and get help when they need it. Many things can cause depression. About 10% of people in the United States have depression. The World Health Organization, WHO, says that depression is the most common cause of disability around the world. People can be on the lookout for signs of depression in themselves and in others if they know what causes depression. But before we start our video, it would mean a lot to us if you click the bell icon and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's get started. 1. Grief and loss. Grief and loss, which together are called bereavement, are a major situational cause of depression. But it can be hard to figure out what's wrong because the symptoms might just be seen as normal responses to loss. How you deal with grief depends on you. How a person deals with grief depends on their age, life experience, personality, state of mind, and the thing they are sad about. Grief can show up in both physical and mental ways, like full depression and a sad mood, anxiety, anger, high blood pressure and heart rate, high levels of stress hormones, trouble sleeping, changes in the immune system, and drug use. Grief that lasts for a long time or is very strong is called complicated grief or prolonged grief disorder. When you think about your grief a lot, it can make it harder to deal with. It can be hard to tell when the sadness that comes with grief turns into depression. People who are grieving should talk to their doctor about it, especially if they are having trouble dealing with it. 2. Rejection. People have an innate desire to be liked, accepted, and approved of by others. Rejection and being left out of a group can be very upsetting and have been linked to low self-esteem. Some people are very sensitive to being turned down by other people and have a high rejection sensitivity, RS. The level of RS in a person depends on their genes and their past experiences. People with a high RS are more sensitive to social cues and notice even the smallest sign of rejection. They react strongly to any sign they find. Any feeling of not being accepted makes people anxious. When people think they've failed over and over again, they start to avoid other people and feel sad. Even if someone doesn't have a high RS, they can still try hard to get other people to like them and feel bad when they don't. Aggression and anger are also common responses to being turned down. This is especially true when a love interest is the reason for the rejection. On the other hand, depression itself raises RS because people with low self-esteem are more sensitive to rejection because they feel less good about themselves. Their bad depression symptoms may make it more likely that they won't be accepted by other people. The stigma that surrounds depression and other mental health problems may make it more likely that someone will reject you. The RS of a person is not always set at a certain level. Counseling could be used to treat depression and stop it from coming back. 3. Stress. Stress in particular, stress changes hormones, which are found in about 70% of people who are depressed. The hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal glands can't control mood and emotion as they normally would. Stress makes the stress hormone cortisol come out, which changes the way brain cells look and work. Stress can even change the size of the hippocampus, an area of the brain that shrinks in people who are depressed. Stress from the mind also makes the immune system work, which includes releasing chemicals that are linked to depression. The fact that these immune chemicals are active in brain tissue, including the hippocampus, shows how they cause mental illness symptoms. 4. Illness. Up to 10 to 15% of all cases of depression may be caused by being sick. This could be the case because the illness itself may be tragic, and finding out that you have it can be a shock, e.g., cancer, HIV infection, multiple sclerosis. The illness could cause signs of depression, e.g., hypothyroidism, vitamin B12 deficiency, mononucleosis. The illness may be linked to depression by its nature, e.g., Parkinson's disease, impotence, heart attack. The medicines used to treat the illness may make the person feel sad, e.g., some heart medications, hormones, certain antibiotics. Illness and depression go hand in hand with each other. Depression can be caused by many illnesses or their treatments, and depression is known to slow recovery and raise the risk of death from many illnesses. When someone has a chronic or terminal illness, depression can make the pain from the illness even worse. Doctors should tell their patients if they have a disease or are taking a medicine that can cause depression. They should also keep an eye out for this side effect. In the same way, people who are sick should be aware of this common and painful side effect. 5. Lack of sleep. Depression and sleep are both affected by each other. First of all, one of the most important signs of depression is changes in sleep. A person has either gotten more or less sleep. About 75% of depressed people have trouble sleeping, and about 40% sleep too much. There is a lot of overlap between these two problems. Some of the main reasons people with depression get help is because they can't sleep. On the other hand, not getting enough sleep is a known cause of depression. 4 times as many people get depressed if they don't get enough sleep. A clinical study with adult twins showed that the number of depressed people doubles when they sleep for 5 hours or less. Because they were twins, the fact that they had a family history of depression didn't matter. Another large study with teenagers found that sleeping for less than 6 hours a night raises the risk of depression by 25% to 38%. Depression can make it hard to sleep, which can lead to more depression. Teenagers seem to be especially prone to sleep deprivation, which is usually something they do to themselves. Taking care of sleep problems seems to be a good way to prevent depression, treat it, and keep it from coming back. Also, because sleep problems increase the risk of suicide, it is especially important for depressed people to deal with their sleep problems. 6. Rumination. Grief that has gotten out of hand is called rumination. The person who ruminates on their sadness doesn't try to accept and deal with it in a healthy way. Grief and pain become an obsession that gets in the way of living a normal life. When people ruminate, they can't stop thinking things like, "Why did this happen to me?" and "How bad is this?" They feel sorry for themselves and make things worse than they really are. They might also feel angry at people who are dealing with their grief in better ways. It shouldn't come as a surprise that rumination has been found to be a major cause of depression. It can cause depression, make depression worse and last longer, and make people more likely to think about killing themselves. On the other hand, people who are depressed often have trouble controlling their emotions, which can make them ruminate. Grief is a normal part of life, but many people don't know how to deal with it, especially if it's their first time going through it. Their ideas about what grief will be like may not be realistic. Researchers found that the best way to stop ruminating is to have hope, which means having confidence in yourself and wanting to do well. People who have a lot of hope have a better sense of their own abilities and are more likely to move on with their lives instead of dwelling on the loss they are grieving. Grief counseling should be given to people who keep thinking about the past. 7. Money problems. There are several ways that money problems can lead to depression. A study that looked at how money affects the mental health of 35,000 Americans found that people with low household income are more likely to have mental health disorders, especially depression. The study found that the risk of depression goes up when income goes down. More research found that financial problems and financial stress are linked to depression. Depression seems to make financial problems worse, starting a cycle. People who are having trouble with their money because of things like a drop in income or a loss of money should think about ways to deal with the stress that comes with these changes. 8. Life transitions. Even good changes in a person's life can make them feel bad. People are creatures of habit, so even good changes can take them out of their comfort zone and cause stress. For example, if you get a promotion, you might have to leave a familiar and easy job for one that is new and hard. The new job can mean leaving behind people you know and being surrounded by people you don't know. So, that's it for today. We hope you enjoy the video. Tell us what you think about the video in the comments section below. Also, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to get all the latest updates.